Hi, I'm Anna Phoebe, and on behalf of the Ivors Academy and Young Voices, I'm so thrilled to introduce a composer whose music is known by millions of children and adults across the globe. He is the composer of both the music and the lyrics for Matilda the musical. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Anna. How you doing? Hello, children. Hello, children. Hello, maggots.
Good. It's so good to have you here. We're so thrilled that some of the Matilda songs are going to feature in the Young Voices 2024 tour. And what we want to do today is get a little bit closer to the heart of songwriting. But I thought instead of me asking the questions, we'd get some of the children instead. So, Tim, I want to introduce you to the children in one of the Young Voices choir. This is the Love to Sing choir in Kent.
Hi, Tim!
And so first up, we have Tara with a question.
How old were you when you started writing songs?
I'm not actually sure, Tara. I reckon I was probably about 11, maybe 12, and I don't suppose it was very good, but it's meant to go that way, because you're never very good at things when you first try them out, unless you're a genius or Matilda, I suppose. I think my first song was kind of a weird country love song. Uh, I didn't know much about love when I was 11, and I didn't know much about songs. And I think also when you're very young, you tend to just write something very similar to something you've heard. Like basically, you steal the chords and almost steal the lyrics and go, Mom, Dad, I wrote a song. And that's totally fine as well, because that's how you start building up your skills. I think I probably wrote my first good song when I was about 25.
Which was only yesterday, Tim.
Yeah, right, last week.
So next up we have Menkara.
I'm writing my own song. Can you give me some tips?
Mankara, I'm very, very glad you're writing your own song. I don't know what tips. What tips do I have? I think listen to the music you love and learn from it. It depends what you're writing on. If you're writing with a guitar or a piano, just choose a few simple chords and just play those chords and see what you hear over the top. And then the other tip, I guess, is to write about something you care about, or write from the point of view of someone who cares about something. When you're young, you don't necessarily, you might not be ready to write your first love song or your song about how angry you are at the tax man or whatever, but you can put yourself in other people's shoes, which I think is why I love writing for theatre and why I love going to the theatre, because it's all about putting yourself in someone else's shoes so you can write from someone else's point of view. And that if you're struggling to think of a song to write about how you're feeling, and that's always the first stop, think about writing something about how you're feeling. But if you don't feel like you're ready to write that song, imagine you're someone else and write a song about that. That's the job of the musical theatre writer, and I really love that.
I love that, building empathy through songwriting as well. So the next question we have is from Isabella.
Why did you use the story of Matilda to set to music?
Well, Isabella, I actually, the Royal Shakespeare Company, who are the company that made Matilda, came to me and asked me if I'd like to write musical theatre. And I said, yeah, because I have actually written music for theatre since I was about 18. People didn't know that. They didn't know that. They just thought I was writing my own stuff. And they said, have you heard of Roald Dahl? And I was like, yeah, I'm not an idiot. And they said, have you heard of Matilda? And I was like, yeah, because actually I had long ago, I thought that would be a great story for a musical. So it was a real coincidence that this amazing theatre company asked me to write this story that I was already in love with and had already thought would be fantastic for a stage show. And the reason I think it's fantastic is we love stories about people who themselves are kept down and treated poorly, Harry Potter or, Frodo in Lord of the Rings or whatever. People who are just small people who are kept down, but who have a heart of gold and have a moral compass. And a moral compass means like a really clear idea of what is right and wrong and what matters in the world. And Matilda's got these awful parents and ends up at this awful school, but she just has a real sense of what's right and wrong, and what is right and wrong to her is very, very important. The other thing I love about it is it's about being powerful by using your brain. I mean, yeah, in the end, Matilda does magic with her eyes, which is great fun. And magic is really cool, and we all love a magic story. But I like the long, long bit before, where it's her imagination and her love of reading and her love of putting herself in other people's shoes and her love of expanding her mind and her love of the library and of imagination. That's her superpower before it becomes a real superpower. And so for me, a story about the power of stories, that's a really great idea for a musical.
I love it. And finally, Tim,
almost
we have
like
a question.
Almost like I've been talking about this thing for 13 years.
You know what? I've got a tear in my eye. It's actually super inspiring.
No,
and
I still love talking about it, and I still really care about it.
Yeah, but the power of stories, that's from the beginning of time, isn't it? That's the human thing that we do. We tell stories. Yeah. We have one more question, and this is from Scarlett.
Who is your favourite character in Matilda? And did you pretend to act out any of the characters yourself, like Miss Trunchbull or Bruce?
Oh, my favourite character. Look, I mean, my favourite character is Matilda, I guess, because she's the hero. And just because I love her brain and I love her empathy and I love her strength. I love that she's such a kind person, but she is fierce. Though she is little, she is fierce. She is fierce when she sees something that needs fixing, and that she actually saves Miss Honey as well as herself. I love the power of Matilda, but I also love how funny the baddies are. I love Mr. Wormwood and I love Miss Trunchbull. And as for acting them out while I was writing, absolutely, that's the only way I know how to do this job. I tend to start with a phrase, or firstly I go, what is this person going to sing about, and why do we care about what they're thinking, and how are they feeling, and where is the story, and all these questions which I could do 2 hours on talking about, which I won't bore you with now. But then I think of a phrase, if you want to throw the hammer for your country, this idea that you should keep your feet within the line, because when you throw a hammer, you have to stay within a painted circle in the sport, hammer throwing, which I think is an amazing metaphor for this teacher who thinks it's all about rules and discipline. The irony, of course, being that she cheats. When she can't win, she cheats. She changes the rules. She changes the spelling of words. She'll do whatever it takes to win. Like a lot of bad people, she's a hypocrite. She doesn't practice what she preaches. But when it comes to getting closer to the end of the song, and I'm trying to figure out how it should go and how the melody should go, especially, I am absolutely, the only way I know how to do that is to pretend to be the character. And that's one of my favorite feelings in the world. It's why I love being an actor. It's why I love going to the theater, is not just seeing other people's stories played out, but playing them out myself. I like to make myself feel how Miss Honey might feel when she's in her little house, which is enough for her for now, and how Miss Trunchbull might feel when she's wanting to assert her power, and how Matilda might feel when all the noise in her head finally comes so much for her that it has to shoot out through her eyes. And I make myself laugh, and I make myself cry, and I make myself furious. And I think that's what creativity is. It's putting yourself there, putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Love that. If you were going to send a message to all of the children in the Young Voices choir, either in the voice of Miss Trunchbull or Miss Honey, to say, practice your Matilda songs, how do you do it?
Practice your songs, maggots! I'm much better at Trunchbull than Matilda. I think one day I'll play Miss Trunchbull. I don't think one day I'll play Matilda. That
would be amazing. I'd love that if you're on the West End and then suddenly, for one night only. Oh,
I might put my neck out throwing Amanda Thripp, but apart from that, I think I could still carry it.
Thank you so much for your time, Tim. I cannot wait to see 10,000 children singing Matilda musical songs, and I think you're such an inspiration to songwriters, to budding songwriters and budding composers across the globe. And it's been so great chatting to you today.
Thanks, guys. Have a fantastic sing. Just enjoy yourself. Be loud. And hopefully I'll see you there.